Yo, 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 peace and blessings. I hope you're having an amazing day. It's your boy Burnell Washburn, aka Young Bernie Gold, back with another episode of Creative Success. Before we get started today, I just wanted to say shout out and huge thank you to all the new subscribers and everyone that's been showing love. This community has really been turning into what I always envisioned it as just like this empowered, inspired community that wants to uplift each other, empower each other, and just grow as human beings. So, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe because we spread good vibes every single day on this channel. It means the world to me to be waking up to these messages from you guys every day saying that the videos are helping you out, or saying that, like, I really needed to hear that yesterday, or I was in a bad mood and your video kind of brought me out of it. So huge thank you to everyone that's been showing love. The community is growing rapidly, and I'm just going to be more grateful for all of you guys' participation and all the good vibes you guys are spreading with me. So huge thank you guys. Let's jump right into today's episode. This is something that's really changed my life, and it's something that you can go implement right now. That's super easy to add to your life. That's gonna make profound changes. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. It's gonna make your life better. Is basically what I'm trying to say. And this is something that's helped me more than goal setting, more than having to-do lists, more than a lot of other things. And if you've been on my channel for a couple years, you've probably heard me talk about this. But it's just simple. It's called keeping a success log. And it's really easy to do. All it is you keep a log of your successes. Anything that you feel like is a win, you write it down and you give yourself credit for it. I personally keep mine in my phone. I used to keep them in notebooks, but having them on my phone kind of makes it accessible wherever I'm at. And anytime I don't know what to do, I can pull out my success log and it kind of puts me back on track. So the reason it's so important is it's like being a parent with the kids. They need positive reinforcement rather than only being acknowledged when they do something wrong. And our brains are the same way. We need to acknowledge ourselves when we're winning, when we're achieving, when we're doing anything right, when we're sticking to our goals and habits. We need to acknowledge ourselves for that, so we get this kind of dopamine rush, or this kind of positive endorphin rush that makes us want to succeed more, and it gives us it drives us to have more momentum. And rather than beating ourselves up and only looking at our shortcomings and our flaws and our challenges, we're looking at, hey, I'm actually a badass. I'm actually doing a lot of good things. And it triggers you and rewires your brain to view yourself as a successful, high achiever type person. And it wires you to want more momentum. Just like the kid who wants to go do more good behavior when they get rewarded for it. It's our brain wants to achieve more. Hey, I felt good when I sent that email. I felt good when I went to the gym. I felt good when I, and you actually acknowledge yourself for it. So then you're like kind of building up this foundation and, strengthening your identity as like a more driven, more successful person. And it just wires you to keep wanting to achieve more. And like, you don't want to be addicted to success and like the fact that like, oh, I need to get these results and these successes in order for me to love myself, or in order for people to love me. But you want to also keep yourself from going stagnant, because growth is a big part of happiness. I think growth and contribution are two of the biggest parts of fulfillment in life. So if we're growing, we're going to feel good about ourselves. If we're doing better than we were last week, like, we don't need to be better than anyone else except for the person we were yesterday. I'm not competing with any other rapper or any other YouTuber out there except for the rapper and the YouTuber that I was last week. You know what I mean? So keeping a success log just keeps me on track and keeps me inspired and keeps me wanting to achieve more. I've been keeping a success log for a long time now, but I used to kind of do it off and on, maybe once a week or once every few days. Or now I do it every single day, and I haven't missed a day for like over 90 days. And man, my life has just gotten so much better in so many areas. I can't even believe it. I have gotten better results than I have when I've just like set some big goals. And I still think goal setting is important and valuable, and you should set goals, and you should know where you're at, where you're trying to go, and why you're trying to go there. And have these specific goals. But like, sometimes we get caught up in like a goal of like $10,000 a month or 100,000 Instagram followers or whatever, and that's not really the real goal. That's like an ends goal, or like a means goal rather than an ends goal. It's like kind of we want the $10,000 or the 100,000 followers because we think we're going to feel a certain type of way, or because we think it's going to enable us to do a certain thing. So to me, setting goals like that is not really as valuable as like knowing where I want to go and then identifying what habits are going to actually get me there. Like, what daily habits do I have to keep up with? Like, rather than like my goal is to be 5% body fat and have a six-pack, it's like my goal is to work out at least 5 days a week and keep up these habits and stuff like that, because, and keep up with this diet consistently, because consistency pays off. And having a success log keeps you consistent. It just keeps you on track. So I'll put a screenshot of my personal success log up on the screen here in just a minute, so you can take a look at like kind of how I do mine in my iPhone. And you can make those little bubbles that you can check off, and it's really satisfying to like check off those bubbles. And it's not really like a to-do list, more so it's more like I'm keeping a track of my wins, and I'm feeling good, and I want to keep adding things to that list. And I want that list to be more impressive than it was last week. I want that list to be better than yesterday, and just keep me going. I want to keep adding stuff to that list because it feels good. I get this like positive reinforcement whenever I add something to that list. So every day I'm just trying to like top that list and make the list even better than it was the day before. And like I said, I'm not chasing validation. I don't need the success in order to feel good about myself, but I want to keep growing into the best version of myself, and this really keeps me on track. So I'll put a little screenshot of my success log. You guys can do your own version of it. There's no rules to it or anything, but seriously, acknowledge the wins. Acknowledge things that you're doing right. Like, if you got up on time, that's a success, or that's a win. If you took the cold shower, that's a win. If you went to the gym even when you didn't feel like it, that's a win. If you sent that email, or if you got that new client, or they just don't have to be big, massive things. They could be really small things, and these small wins add up to big wins. Like, the small daily consistent wins is what's gonna like overall turn. Success doesn't happen in like one moment where you're just like out of nowhere some big huge thing happens. It's like, no, this is a culmination of like years or months and months of small wins over and over again, consistently keeping track of those wins and staying on path, because it's really easy to start beating yourself up if you've had a couple off days or a couple challenging moments, and start to like create this identity and this story about yourself that you're like a piece of shit, or you're like not a high achiever, or what, all these limiting stories that we tell ourselves. But when we keep a success log, it's a lot easier to cultivate this identity of like, hey, I'm actually a go-getter. I'm actually really driven. I'm actually really successful. I'm actually making massive strides towards my goals and dreams every day. So start keeping a success log. It's going to change your life for real. I could just talk about this topic for hours. If you have any specific questions, or just questions in general about any of this kind of stuff, make sure to drop a comment below, or shoot me a message on IG, and just at Burnell Washburn on all platforms, so you can find me pretty easily. But say what up, ask questions. Let's keep the good vibes going. I think I could obviously just talk about success logs for the rest of the day, but I'm pretty sure you guys got my point. So start keeping a success log, whether it's in your phone or your laptop or your journal or whatever, and just keep track of these small wins. I ate healthy today. I got up on time. I sent that email. I recorded that video. I made that beat, or I made my bed, or I drank enough water. And big or small, it doesn't matter. It's about rewiring your brain to view yourself as a successful person. And like I said, give yourself that positive reinforcement, so you want to keep behaving in those positive ways, rather than like constantly rather than only acknowledging yourself when you're doing something wrong. Make sure you give yourself a lot of praise and acknowledgement when you're doing something right. It doesn't mean like you go celebrate and go to the Bahamas because you woke up on time, but most people are doing the exact opposite of that. It's like they're doing a lot of good things in their life, and they have a couple slip-ups, and they beat themselves up so hard over it, rather than like really acknowledging all the things that they are doing right. And it's just helped me get more done. I've been like 1,000 times more productive than I've ever been, because I just keep adding things to this success log, and I'm almost like addicted in a good way to like adding things to that list and trying to outdo myself, and be a better version of myself than I was last week or last month. So I hope that inspires, uplifts you, and just gives you a nice little technique that you can implement immediately and start seeing some results in. So I love you guys. Thank you again for watching. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and we will see you tomorrow on another episode of Creative Success. Bless.